There's all the earmarks of a terrorist attack. In fact, the way it was carried out, and to me, there's no doubt in my mind that this is a terrorist attack. I know there's a person of interest, I guess they're calling him now, but to me, this reminds me of what happened in Times Square and also what you know that Inspire, which is the magazine of Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, has called for attacks on athletic events in the United States, on iconic events, and this is both. The Boston Marathon on Patriots Day is almost the ultimate as far as an iconic, athletic, all-American event, and also mass killing of civilians. Again, we don't know for certain, but to me, I think we have to look into either Al-Qaeda or an offshoot of Al-Qaeda or a self-starter here in the United States, a homegrown terrorist.
Well, I mean, I think the FBI fairly soon will ascertain exactly what the profile is. In fact, there's a press conference coming up. I think we'll go to that immediately. The FBI and the Boston authorities combined press conference. But at this point, we don't want to speculate, but we do know that it was designed to kill and maim. See, this is a very disturbing part. The reports are there was shrapnel and ball bearings and things like that. Other eyewitness reports have limbs being blown off in a horrific way. So this wasn't designed to do anything other than create chaos and pandemonium, as 9/11 was. It's the same MO. Now, as you said, both domestic and foreign terrorists use this kind of stuff. When something like this happens, you being on the Homeland Security Committee, do you guys do anything in Congress? I mean, do you get on the phone with the FBI or with your...
Federal government. I'm on the Intelligence Committee also. We're getting a briefing on this tomorrow. But no, this has to be a full court press. And Bill, I hope this is a wake-up call to members of Congress. We've had people in the Senate in particular talking about reducing aid, for instance, to the New York City Police Department and its counterterrorism efforts. Somehow the feeling is this because we haven't been successfully attacked in 11 years that we have nothing to worry about. Well, if anything good can come out of such a horrible event as today, maybe we need a wake-up call. We have enemies who are out to destroy us. They never let up, and in many ways, they're more treacherous than they were before September 11th because they metastasized, they've morphed, and many of them are under the radar screen. And that's why we have to be so aggressive. We have to be on top of this. Because once somebody arrives at an event with an explosive device, it's very difficult to stop them. You can have all that security, it's essential. But the real way to stop it is by intelligence beforehand and by going out into communities and finding out what's going to happen. Not waiting for it to come to us.
Informers hear something and remind people what happened in Times Square when the guy from Connecticut drove down with a car and was going to park it and blow Times Square up. Just remind people what the modus operandi was and how the authorities stopped it.
Well, it was, he actually put together his own device. He'd been trained in Pakistan. He came over here, he drove down from Connecticut, he crashed on a Saturday night in May in 2010. Fortunately, the bomb didn't go off. It burst into fire. It did not explode. But the reason for that was, this guy knew what he was doing, but he also knew that if certain devices approach us, especially in New York, like the NYPD monitors it, they know the types of explosives, they know the types of fumes, they know the types of fireworks, they know what could go into a homemade bomb. And because of that, he persecuted it just below the level that had to be reported. And in doing that, we ended up putting together a bomb that didn't work. Ironically enough, I was meeting with a high-ranking FBI official today in New York before this happened, and he was saying that one of the most unfortunate lessons that people got from the 2010 attack is because the bomb didn't kill anyone, people somehow thought the Al-Qaeda threat was gone. That bomb came within inches of mass destruction. Today, in Boston, unfortunately, there's two bombs, I've heard everything from 2 to 5 bombs up there, explosive devices. They were there, and at least 2 of them went off, and it's absolute devastation. I just think of an 8-year-old boy, an 8-year-old child being killed at an ultimate all-American event. I mean, the Cradle of Liberty, Boston, the Marathon, Patriots Day. What can be better than bringing an 8-year-old child to that and have a young man or a young girl killed at an event like that? It shows how horrible and despicable these people are. Never let that
Boston Globe reporting that they are injured. And a lot of these injuries are horrific. I mean, you've been to the theater of war in Afghanistan and Iraq at the back, and you know the Wounded Warrior situation. When these things go off, they're so intense, and it just makes me really angry. This whole thing makes me really angry that these people in a free society where we know we can't stop it. We've been fortunate to stop it for 12 years, but now one of them got through, and this is what happens.
And it requires an all-out intensive effort, Bill, and that's why we cannot be cutting back on police. We can't be stopping the police when people are trying to do in New York. They're being aggressive.
No, I know. They don't want to stop this for this. They don't want that, and you're absolutely right. Now maybe this will recede as it did in the first attack on 11/11. People said, you know what? Safety first, protection first, and now this crazy madness is sit back. Final question. When you talk to the FBI, you say you're going to get briefed tomorrow. Who's going to do that briefing, Congressman? Who's going to tell you? And will they tell you? It's an active investigation. They don't like to put a lot of stuff out in the media because they want to chase down a whole bunch of people. They catch one, they want to know who their friends are. But will you get a pretty good idea tomorrow of what happened?
Bill, I think we have to, and we have to push for it. If we don't get it up front, we have to push for it. I think we will. In view of this, I mean, in view of the fact that it's right. It's late morning. I don't think the exact time.
Will you come on tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Here on this program? Sure. Absolutely. All right, so I'm going to book the Congressman now for tomorrow to tell us about the briefing because, look, I mean, we really need to have people here and get as much information to people as possible. Congressman, we can't thank you enough for taking the devastating and very terrible situation. All right, in Boston, we have Fox News correspondent Molly Ryan. Never joining us live. I was watching the story from the very beginning. You're the Boston correspondent, and you know the town pretty well. Tell the folks, this Boylston Street is one of the three hubs in Back Bay. You got Commonwealth Avenue, you got Boylston Street, you got Beacon Street, and they're all parallel. And this is a tourist destination. This is people are walking in on Marathon Day. This is a celebratory place because the race ends there. All right, so these terrorists knew that children were going to be there. Go ahead, take it away.
Bill, what you're really talking about is the timing of this. The race kicked off in the morning. The elite runners had finished their run. They had stopped running 2 hours before this. So the people that were crossing the lines at this point in the race, and just a little bit before 3 o'clock, a lot of them were charity runners. They were running this race because they love to run marathons. They love to run, and they were raising money for leukemia, for the Liver Foundation, for whatever the good cause was, that they were out there pounding the pavement across Massachusetts to finish, as you mentioned, this iconic area of the city. This is the downtown on Marathon Monday. It's a huge event every year in Boston. Packed with people, Patriots Day, baseball game going on, and at this point in the day, the race was coming nearer to the end. There were still some people that had yet to cross the finish line. And at that finish line, where these 2 bombs were detonated, were family members waiting for their fellow runners, were the moms with the kids waiting for dad to cross the finish line, were dad with the kids waiting for mom to cross the finish line. So there are many, many children that are on the list of these injured people. Over 100 people injured. And the list coming out from the hospitals, we have a 14-year-old boy with a head injury, a 10-year-old girl with a traumatic leg injury. These victims were families from all over the world. People come from all over the world.
If the report is a 10-year-old girl with a traumatic leg injury, that means an amputee. That's what that trauma means. Now, it is theorized, nobody knows for sure, that these IEDs were set up by cell phones. After the explosions, we couldn't get to our correspondents and our people, Molly, on the street because they shut down cell phone service. Did you experience that?
Yeah, there were reports that that was essentially was done so that there couldn't be another detonation. And in fact, following that, as the media and everyone that could get out of the area, away from the area, they had actually said, the reporters here, we're looking for any other devices that might still replace them so that they could safely detonate them or take them away for study to further that investigation. So they wanted to clear the scene, shut things down, get the cell phones turned off so that there wouldn't be another explosion.
Right. service in different areas. Now, the city of Boston tonight locked down, nobody on the street, other than Mayor Menino has told everybody to stay home, right? And I assume that'll happen tomorrow as well.
Well, they're asking Bostonians to stay inside. They're asking people that have traveled here to run the marathon, to see the marathon, to stay in their hotel rooms and to not be out on the streets. The streets are fairly quiet. There are some people walking around. Nothing like you would expect from a Patriots Day, a Marathon Monday here in the city of Boston. Would have been screaming with people everywhere. But yeah, quiet night here in Boston. Things are getting more and more quiet as the night goes on. Still a whole line of ambulances staged here down Columbus Avenue. So as far as the authorities here are concerned, they're still ready. They're still staging. And they most likely into this, studying that area. Boylston Street, now a crime scene.
Now, how about tomorrow? Are they telling people not to come into town, or what's the word on tomorrow?
I haven't heard anything specific about tomorrow other than to stay away from these areas,
Yeah,
from the Boylston area,
that's
from
gotta
this
be tough.
downtown area.
Because that's right in the middle of all the action, Boylston Street. I mean, but they'll have to block it off, the crime scene. Not going to have anybody in and out of there. The FBI has to do its job. All right, Molly, thanks very much. We appreciate it. I want to go to my old friend Emily Rooney now. She is the host of... Or on the scene when the bombs went off today. Tell us what happened.
Go ahead, just stepped down the street. In fact,
Away from the area. They had actually said that the authorities here were looking for any other devices that might still be traceable so that they could safely detonate them or take them away for study to further that investigation. So they wanted, most likely will be for quite a long time, the FBI, the that everyone looking into this, studying that area. Boylston Street, now a whole line of...
I could instantly see people coming my way, kind of, and police and emergency personnel on the scene. So they were already pushing people back. And as you know, on Marathon Day, the security set up so tightly. They've got those barricades on either side of those streets. They're also on all of the side streets. So once you start heading towards any one of the main, you're stuck. So you really, I wanted to jump a fence, but I really couldn't. And then people started coming towards me.
Was there panic?
Yes. Yes. People were devastated. People were crying. They were shaking. They were saying things. I saw. One guy told me he was right in front of the explosion when it happened. He said he saw arms and legs in the air, just going up. So people who had actually seen it were right on the scene. Were very traumatized.
When all of this happened, did you see the authorities, did they get control of it right away, or what was the time period of chaos?
5 seconds. I mean, instantaneous.
All right, so there were a lot of cops around anyway, because...
There's cops, Bill. Homeland Security sets up. Homeland Security is there. They set up this enormous satellite truck right the street next to me, right on Commonwealth Avenue in Dartmouth. It's there every single year. They've got all the trucks and the satellite stuff. I mean, it's an impressive operation.
All right, so they were on the scene very quickly, fire, police, and Homeland Security. And the people that were in the vicinity, they were either hurt or they ran out of there. Is that the scene that you saw?
Well, they were instantaneously telling people to stop running. And then they were pulling people who were injured into that, that big tent, Bill, at the end of the,
Right.
finish line where they often have a lot of triage there because after you run 26 miles, most people stop into the medical tent. So they were pulling people in there. They had extra wheelchairs around. A lot of people who come across the finish line need a wheelchair. So they were pushing people into wheelchairs, wheeling them into that medical tent.
Now, Boston is known as an international city, and there are a lot of people from around the world who live in Boston. Students, doctors, it's a melting pot. Unlike maybe a Midwestern city where if you would stand out if you weren't from the United States. Not in Boston. There's just a whole lot of people there. So I think it's going to be very difficult for the authorities here to sort things out quickly. I assume they'll get to the bottom of it. And do you know anything about this guy who was looking at?
I don't know about that, but I gotta say, Bill, my guess is this is not gonna be that hard to sort out. I mean, whoever was behind this, it was well thought out. Not just with the timing, but with the number of devices They're going to be looking at security cameras from hotels, from restaurants. Individual people have security on their homes, as you know. People live right on Boylston Street, so they're going to be looking at all of that. My guess is they're going to find something.
It's a good point. There are a lot of cameras there, especially on Marathon Day. Everybody had one. All right, Emily, we're glad you're safe. Thanks very much. We appreciate it. I'm going to go to another former colleague of mine, Howie Carr, radio talk show host at WRKO, big powerhouse up there. Now, you were just about to get on the radio when this happened, right?
Yeah, I initially thought that it was just another one of these blackouts that the Back Bay has been suffering through in recent years. I assumed it was another utility problem. I think a lot of people did. One of the first callers I got called me and said, "Why are you saying this might be terrorism? You know, it's just another gas main problem."
Did people start calling you instantaneously about this?
Oh yeah, they did. And as the afternoon wore on, Bill, I'm on from 3 to 7 Eastern time. As the afternoon wore on, I kept getting more and more calls from people who had been at the scene, and it had taken them a while to get to their cars or get away. You know, when it happened, Emily was right from what my callers told me that some people ran towards the river, towards the Charles River. Other people fled toward the south end, towards the ocean east, and then other people ran away towards the garden. It was towards the common. It was just total chaos. I think a lot of people that I talked to tonight are very thankful. You know, the anger hasn't really kicked in yet. Right now they're just saying, oh my God. I talked to an ex-Marine. He and a couple of his buddies were there, and they heard the explosion and they ran to it to try to help. And the first person he saw was a kid with missing a leg. And a 43-year-old person who was there said I'd never seen anything like it. And how would he see anything like it unless he was in combat?
Yeah. Well, that's what this was designed to do. How long did it take for you doing the radio show about you're about a block and a half away from this, right? Okay.
No, we used to be about a block and a half away. We've moved now. My daughter, though, goes to Emmanuel College, which is in the 15-block radius that is now shut off to any traffic, and the police commissioner has announced that it's going to be shut down for at least 24 hours. So I don't even know when she's going to be able to get back to school, because she was at home today because it was Patriots Day, a state holiday.
Now, how long did it take you to know that this thing was serious, that it was probably a terrorist attack? When did you put that together?
I'd say probably around 3:15 or 3:20. It was pretty clear that when people started calling in and saying that they thought it had come from a trash can, but then you began to see the first pictures showing up on the screen on YouTube, on the newspaper websites, and you saw the explosions were outward. You knew it wasn't a manhole cover that had exploded. It was pretty clear. And then when you began to hear the actual people who were near the we got calls from people who were in the medical tent, volunteers, and it was so serious, Bill, that they told the volunteers to leave, because suddenly it went from just runners who were dehydrated and they just wanted to wrap them up with something and give them some Gatorade to suddenly they're doing triage, like the top.
I mean, there were a couple of eyewitness reports of severed limbs and things like that. The Globe is reporting that about 130 are in hospitals right now. Is that what you're hearing?
Yeah, something like that. Most of the hospitals haven't had anybody step out, but Brigham and Women's had a doctor come out, and he said they had 26 people in there, two of them critically injured.
Boston's, downtown Boston, a compacted area anyway, so everything is in there. Now, when you were taking calls in the beginning of the interview tonight with me, you said that the anger hadn't seeped in. You and I both know that Boston's not a genteel town, despite the Brahmin reputation. This is a scrappy town. And I expect that people are going to...
as Obama said.
Right, it is. And I expect people are going to get very, very angry here. I'm angry now. I mean, because, again, you're targeting children for what? For what? Because you're on some jihad or you're in a mountain someplace and think you're a Nazi guy? I mean, it's just sick across the board. Do you even take those kind of calls today? Those angry calls?
There were a few. You know the way the two sports, the two passions in Boston are sports and politics. And I was getting texts when they were saying, well, let's go back and let's blame the former Speaker of the House and one of his minions who killed the death penalty. As you recall, Bill, the voters of Massachusetts voted twice for the death. Return us to the status.
I expect that
it's a tough town, as Obama said.
Right, it is. And I expect people are going to get very, very angry here.
Whoever did this, you can't put him to death. He's going to be in a cell next to Richard Reed. Richard Reed tried to commit the death penalty. As you recall, Bill, the voters of Massachusetts voted twice for the death penalty in a cell next to Richard Reed. Richard Reed tried to put a bomb in his shoe 12 years ago, and we still have to take off our shoes at the airport.
Right. Well, I expect that there is going to be a backlash on this story, depending on who is fingered and who is taken into custody, whether it's Al-Qaeda or domestic. And it could be a domestic. I mean, I mentioned in the lead that you have all of these coincidental attacks, Oklahoma City, Columbine, Virginia Tech, and Waco, in the month of April. Who knows? I mean, I don't want to speculate that. The bottom line is...
Somebody mentioned, Bill, that the Middle East MO with these kinds of bombs is you don't wait 10 seconds, which the bombs went off 10 seconds apart. You usually wait until in the Middle East until the first responders show up, and then the second car bomb goes off to totally maximize the carnage. But on the other hand, there was that third bomb that was disabled by the Boston police, so maybe that was what they were planning on inflicting maximum damage.
Yeah, whoever did this planned it out, and it could have been either domestic or foreign terrorism. Final question for you. People are
fuck the police department.
Looking for reasons.
Nueces County.
You and I know, because we've both been reporting for decades, there aren't reasons for a lot of this stuff. It just happens. And we're going to talk to Dr. Keith Abloh, or somebody is tonight, if they knock him off to the press conference. So it's very hard for people to process, but I bet you get a lot of calls tomorrow to people looking for some kind of rationale, and there really isn't any rationale.
Yeah. No, I know. We were just trying to gather people's memories of what had happened to them today. It didn't seem like it was a day for hard-nosed politics, because we don't really have a...
You gotta wait and see what direction the investigation goes. All right, thanks a lot. We appreciate you helping us out. Thank you. I want to go to Ed Henry at the White House, because I am going to have to inject some politics in here. It's absolutely appropriate to do so, and it's in context. The president came up a little bit earlier, and he did, as I said earlier, what he had to do. He reassured the nation that justice will be done, and that's what everybody wants. However, there is pressure on President Obama, and I don't even know whether he knows it, because of the fiasco in Libya. Because he still don't know. Nobody's been held accountable for it. That can't happen in Boston. So he's got to know that the urgency here, he's got to get this, and the federal government has got to get this, and get this solved fairly quickly.
Absolutely. I mean, look at this at a number of levels. What happened in Benghazi in September, you still do not really have anybody brought to justice yet, even though the president said immediately after they would be brought to justice. So he has that hanging out there. Yep, that was a terror attack on his watch. This is now another terror attack on his watch. He came out today in the briefing room. I was there, and he called it, in his opening line, the events in Boston. He did not call it terror. Now, critics, you're right, are immediately going to say, wait a second, why won't he call it what to find out all this information. They say, look, it's obvious it was a terror attack because when several explosive devices go off, that by its nature is a terror attack, but they do not yet know whether it's a foreign attack, whether it came from Al-Qaeda or some other group, or whether it's homegrown and some sort of domestic source of terrorism. Nonetheless, they acknowledge to me in private they know they're going to face criticism that he's not calling it terror when meanwhile Dianne Feinstein and others in his own party are out there on the record tonight saying it was terror.
You know what? That didn't bother me. I think the understated presentation, but firm, is what was appropriate there. That didn't bother me. And I think he made a mistake by calling it a tragedy. I don't like that. You know, a tragedy is a storm that comes in and wipes out your family and the house, or an accident that you have no control over. This isn't a tragedy. This is an act of war. That's what this is, whether it's domestic or foreign. Now, Mr. Obama basically is who wants to be cool in all circumstances. Do I have him correctly there? He's very conscious of being cool. He doesn't show anger. You very rarely see him show anger. But at a time like this, that's what is necessary. I can show anger because I don't have anything directly to do with the investigation. But he has to keep a cool head.
He does like to keep a cool head. One of the rare times that I saw him in covering him where he maybe, if you were to say lost his cool a little bit, was during the oil spill investigation when he was taking a lot of heat. You remember he did an interview with Matt Lauer and said something about kicking people's butts and whatnot because he realized at that moment he was losing the public in terms of not showing that he cared, not showing he really wanted to get to the bottom of it. In this case, frankly, they compare it to the Bush administration days, and they think that President Bush, in some of his public pronouncements, got a little ahead of the situation, and they don't want to repeat that. And you're right, he does approach it where he wants to be the coolest guy in the room. Sometimes that works, other times it might not.
It does. Sometimes appropriate, sometimes it isn't. He's got to, once it gets to be defined, then show some anger. Then I would see. Now, the lead investigative agency is going to be the FBI. We're looking now at a picture of the dais where a press conference will be held momentarily, and it will be divided between the FBI and the local authorities in Boston. But the FBI, not Homeland Security, is the lead agency on this, right?
Right, the FBI, because they're going to be the lead law enforcement agency. They're the ones that coordinate the whole thing. And the fact that what's fascinating there as well is you have Robert Mueller, who, pardon me, has been on the job for several years, but is coming up. His term has been extended once, and now he's done in a few months. So this is going to be his last major investigation. He's already got one foot out the door. You have a completely new national security team here at the White House for the beginning of the second term. Chuck Hagel at Defense, John Kerry at State, John Brennan's left the White House and gone to the CIA. And so he's got this whole new group of people around him, the president, who are being tested here very quickly. Let's remember what we've been talking about, what you've been talking about in your show for weeks, is about immigration reform and gun control and the budget. What's he going to do on a grand bargain? All of a sudden, all of that's on the back burner.
Right. I mean, the terrorism thing now becomes a major issue because this is the second time now we've been hit, 9/11, of course, being the first. The president basically is dependent now on Mueller and the FBI. And those guys are notoriously tight-lipped. See, this is going to be fascinating, and I want people to watch this starting tomorrow. Tonight it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to lay the groundwork for the rest of the week in our analysis and reportage. The public is going to demand quick answers, like I just said to Peter King. Hey, when you get briefed tomorrow, we want to know tomorrow night what they're telling you about it. And Congressman King's nice enough to commit to coming back on tomorrow night. But, you know, the FBI, they don't want to say anything because they, you know, if there's 5 or 6 people involved with this, they want to trace everybody back. But the public is demanding quick answers. So the president, again referencing Libya, is between a rock and a hard place here.
He is, because in terms of the Libya investigation, months and months have passed without the U.S. being able to crack that case. As you know, at the beginning of that, after Benghazi, the FBI hadn't even been to the consulate, hadn't been there for days, maybe weeks. They were very slow there. So there's going to be intense pressure, as you say, to make sure this time when it's on the U.S. homeland in Boston, a major American city, that they're going to have to work a lot faster. Now, what I will say about the information coming out, the FBI sometimes might be too tight-lipped to their detriment. On other times, though, as you know better than anyone, as you noted, in the first 24 hours or so, the information may not really be pertinent in the investigation. A lot of the early reports turn out to be false about which guy we're looking for, where he or she was. But you're right. After the after Osama bin Laden was caught. That was a much better circumstance, obviously, for the United States. But there were a lot of unanswered questions about what happened, how did we do it, and you've got to push just as hard, whether the outcome is good or, in this case, where there's a terror attack on American soil. The president's going to be held accountable for that. We've got to get to the bottom of it, but this has happened now on his watch, and they're going to have to explain not just what's happening in the investigation, but did they have any inkling of this at all? If not, why not? There are a lot of unanswered questions. And Jay Carney, not just him, but the FBI, the Homeland Security Department, Janet Napolitano are going to face a lot of questions about what they knew and what they didn't know. And we should say, in fairness to them, obviously, this was said in the Bush administration when I was here, and should be said now, which is that for the Department of Homeland Security, still a relatively new federal agency post 9/11, as you noted, they have to be right 100% of the time. The terrorists only have to be right once, and all of a sudden we have a horrific scene. So there are a lot of particularly when the funerals or the patient coming out. The FBI sometimes might be too tight-lipped to their detriment on what happened, how did we do it, and you've got to push just as hard, whether the outcome is good or, in this case, where there's a terror attack on American soil. The president's going to be held accountable for that. We've got to get to the bottom of it, but this has happened now on his watch, and they're going to have to explain not just what's happening in the investigation, but did they have any inkling of this at all? If not, why not? There are a lot of unanswered questions tonight, and Jay Carney, not just him, but the FBI, the Homeland Security Department, Janet Napolitano are going to face a lot of questions about what they knew and what they didn't know. And we should say, in fairness to them, obviously, this was said in the Bush administration.
Because you had 27,000 runners in this marathon. There are between 2,000 and 6,000 of these yellow personal possession bags that are lined up on the street here down around the corner. That could be a sweater for a change of clothes for one of the runners, because all the runners put their possessions in one of these bags before the race occurs, and they bring that to the finish line, to that 26.2 miles later at the end of the Boston Marathon, which, by the way, doesn't run in a circle. It goes in a line 26 plus miles. But inside those yellow bags, Bill, you could have car keys, you could have house keys, you could have a cell phone, you could have a wallet. All that material is being watched by the National Guard tonight here in Copper Square in Boston, Massachusetts. And the mylar coating that you get after you run one of these races, after you try to keep the temperature of your body down and control that, there are literally thousands and thousands of these that were never used. And the reason why they weren't used is because the runners never made it to the finish line once that explosion went off.
We might say that they aborted the race after most of the runners had crossed the finish line, and they were actually gone to where they were going after the race. But the ones that hadn't crossed,
You're at 4.5 hours, 4 hours, 30 minutes, which isn't a super fast time for a marathon, but it's not super slow either.
no, I think it was like almost 5,000 were still out on the course, and then the authorities shut it down.
Now, did you fly up there? No, did you fly up there? I flew. All right, so the planes are landing in Logan. The planes are landing in Logan. Business as usual around the area. I think throughout the city of Boston, it's pretty much business as usual. In the immediate area here, there's a lot of police as you would expect. And again, as I mentioned at the top of this report, you can get within a block, but no closer. Okay. So when you landed at Logan Airport, were there delays? Was there chaos at the airport? Heightened security? The 5 o'clock out of New York was canceled. There was a ground stop put here at the airport of Logan International. I think that lasted about 3 hours, maybe 2 hours and 30 minutes before that ground stop was lifted. But I just noticed the one cancellation at 5 o'clock out of New York. The 6 o'clock took off as usual. And as you know from being familiar in this part of the country and having gone to school here in Cambridge, it's a quick flight. We were on the ground, very little traffic, had an excellent cab driver, navigated the streets, and literally drove me right to the location here without any police stopping us. I tell you, Bill, if you did not know that an explosion occurred at midday today and 2 people were killed and upwards of 100 others were injured, you'd think this was a regular marathon because there's trash in the street, as you can expect from tens of thousands of people being around here. Big boxes of bananas waiting for runners to take part in those, and boxes of water everywhere. You'd think it was just a regular race, except for that one area that I described. That block in the down the street from you, Hammer. It's about a half-mile away. You can walk it. But they were playing. The Red Sox were playing when the bombs went off. But they
Here are the current
know
conditions for Corpus Christi,
a half
Texas.
mile away
And
or
the
so. You
temperature
wouldn't
is 73
know.
degrees.
I guess it would
Humidity
use
is
the sirens and
92%.
everything. And then the
Current dew point is 71 degrees. Winds are from the southwest at 15.2 miles per hour. The pressure is 29.71 inches. Conditions are
And the
clear.
crowd on the side of the street,
Visibility is 8.0
Boston loves this race. It's a holiday here in Boston. It's Patriots Day. In front of him. And they were told to really stop and turn around and go back. They won't complete the race. That was his experience. You know, we got to compliment the Boston Authority, who was right there. They really got in there fast, and they secured the area. They got the people under control.